carrot seed oil, neem oil, and zinc. And I'll talk about each one as I'm adding them. So the great thing about beeswax, which I'm sure you are familiar with beeswax, it adds that waterproof protection for it. What you will notice is when you put your sunscreen on, or if you make hand butter, is that the water will actually bead off of your hands because it creates a little wax barrier on your skin. The other thing to know when you buy beeswax, do not buy it in a block. It takes a really long time to melt. I have purchased it in a block and then grated it, which gums up your food processor or grater. It's available on Amazon, or one of the sources that I use for a lot of my herbs and natural products is called Mountain Rose Herbs. Their prices are really good, and they've been in business for, I want to say 40 years, maybe even longer actually. So the products are very quality products at a really good price. So I added my beeswax pellets. They come in both white and yellow. It doesn't really matter. Again, if you have yellow, it's going to add a little bit of a yellow color to it, but either one is fine. The next ingredient is shea butter, which again, you can buy on Amazon or on Mountain Rose Herbs. One thing to know, shea butter is great for your skin. It's great for your hair. It smells very earthy. It's very difficult to cover the smell of shea butter. So I'm going to actually limit the amount of essential oils that I use because nothing covers the smell of that earthy dirt smell. If you don't like the smell of shea butter, you can substitute mango butter. It's a little bit more expensive, but it has the same properties and it doesn't smell. And it's just a little bit more expensive. Again, available on Mountain Rose Herbs or Amazon. So I added my shea butter, my beeswax. Gonna add my coconut oil. Coconut oil, I have not used face cleanser for about 4 years. I was at my friend's house for a girls' weekend, and my face cleanser, eye makeup remover, but I did have my coconut oil. So I used my coconut oil, and then I discovered that it removes waterproof makeup. It's natural for your skin. It's less expensive. And now that's all I use to wash my face. Because when you think about it, your face is not cleanser. Your skin is not cleanser. It's not detergent. It's oil. It's sebum. So coconut oil, it just matches your natural skin. You can put it in a little jar, keep it in the bathroom. I can't say enough about it. My sister-in-law, who is not as crunchy. I wouldn't say I'm crunchy. I'm on the spectrum of crunchy. I told her about coconut oil and she uses it now. Loves it. So I have my coconut oil in there. Now I'm going to
add a note about coconut oil. Definitely, I highly recommend. Love it. Virgin, everything. But just know some people have issues with coconut oil, right? So if you try it and it doesn't work for you, it's just maybe your skin, maybe there's a reason. So don't worry. But she's going to add
cocoa butter. Again, cocoa butter is one of those things that you cannot get rid of the chocolate smell, no matter how much essential oils you use in your product. So if you don't like cocoa butter, you can use kokum butter. Again, same properties. And kokum butter is actually, well, cocoa butter is also edible, but kokum is also edible. Again, more expensive, but it doesn't have that smell. It also takes, if you look at it, I mean, it's hard. And it's going to take a little bit longer to melt as well because it's solid. Also adding a little bit to that waterproof, adding that waterproof barrier to your product. So I'm going to let that melt first. And as you can see, it's already the beeswax pellets are already melting. Again, the coconut oil takes or the cocoa butter rather takes a little bit longer because it's solid. I'm going to cover it, just see if we can get that to melt a little bit easier. So some of the other products I'm going to be using, and we'll add this after I've removed this from the heat, vitamin E, which you can buy at Trader Joe's for less expensive than you can buy even on Mountain Rose Herbs or Amazon. And vitamin E offers some preservative qualities to it. So any body product you use, if you add vitamin E, it adds a preservative quality to it. And it's good for your skin too, and it doesn't smell. Neem oil is what I'm going to be using, and again, after it's been removed from the heat. You can use, so neem is great, you can take it internally. It's a blood purifier, works with the it's a hepatoprotectant, so it helps to purify the liver. It's really good for acne, any type of skin irritation. You can use it as a lice treatment. You put it on the head and then you cover it with a plastic bag. It was actually really funny. Our kids, they didn't have lice, but we didn't know, so we did a preventative. So we all slathered our hair with neem, and then we covered our heads with plastic Target shopping bags. I'm sure we looked great. Some people don't like the smell of neem. I think it smells kind of nutty. I think it smells really good. If you take neem internally, be warned that if you're taking it as a tea, it's extremely bitter. It's probably one of the most bitter herbs you'll take, but you do get used to it. The first time I took it internally as a tea, I gagged because it was kind of, but you do get used to it. And now I don't think it's bad at all. And I think it smells really good. Each one of those ingredients has a little bit of sun protecting factors. I think coconut oil has an SPF of 4, cocoa butter, probably around the same range. Neem, it just helps to protect the skin, help with skin blemishes. The thing that is most valuable in our sunscreen is the zinc. And you want to get what is it? Where's my bag? Where's my bag of zinc?
Non-nano?
Yeah, non-nano. You can buy it on Amazon or Mountain Rose Herbs. You need to be really careful not to breathe it in though, because it can be very irritating to, yeah, there you go. The one thing, when you see sunscreen that turns your skin white, that's the zinc. You can add more. So adding 2 tablespoons of this to this batch is going to give us an SPF a little bit above 20. You can add more to make it more SPF protected. I will tell you though, we made this sunscreen maybe 5 years ago. It's been a while, and because we usually spend our summers in Slovenia, and we would be in the sun, beating down sun in Croatia, and not get any sunburns. So it works really well. I think it actually works better than the SPF 50s that I've used. Just my personal experience.
I'm just going to have a side note here, because Chantelle she's not just anybody who just goes into her kitchen and makes sunscreen, although I'm sure there are a lot of people in this group and we all know people who do that. Chantelle has been really passionate about skincare, where she started a skincare line. She had these amazing body butters. She was teaching a lot of classes, and her passions are shifting a little bit, so she's not doing all of that as much anymore. But I have to tell you, we are so lucky to have her teaching us this, because she's not just like, oh yeah, I'm just going to teach you a recipe. Like, she dives into anything. People that I really kind of admire and respect, they really are passionate, and they work really hard to understand why they're doing it, not just doing it to do it. And we are just lucky to have her, because it's not, oh, just buy this and put it together, and there's no real reasoning or rhyme behind it. She really put a lot of effort into knowing this. And as you can see, she took this all the way to Slovenia. Is that safe? And yeah.
Croatia,
yeah. And so she knows it worked, and it doesn't have to be super, super fancy. It's like, well, it is fancy because you get to make it yourself, and there's like a fanciness about that, but it can be easy.
Yes, if you can read, you can make any of these products. And there are so many blogs out there. One of them is called Wellness Mama. She has lots of recipes. Also, Mommypotamus. And I believe that Wellness Mama and Mommypotamus pair it up together. So they send out a weekly, combined newsletter with lots of good information, actually. And the interesting thing about my products, I first started making my own whipped body butter because my son had eczema when he was a baby, and it helped to clear it up. And then I used it on myself, and it's fabulous. And so again, if you can read, you can make it. Okay, so everything is melted. I'm going to remove it from the heat. I'm adding in my neem. going to add, oh, you know what? Will you grab is there sea buckthorn in there? Oh, one more thing about cocoa butter. Cocoa butter also helps to heal scars. That's why it's in so many pregnancy belly products. Can you check the refrigerator maybe? Another ingredient that I often add, I don't know if I have it, so I might not be using it, is called sea buckthorn. It is so great for your skin. It's really good for your face, antioxidant, helps with wrinkles, helps soothe the skin, helps with rosacea, eczema. You have to be warned that it has a little bit of an orange tinge to it. So if you use it straight, it will stain your skin orange. So I usually use maybe a half a teaspoon or a teaspoon in a batch like this. And I'll be emailing Mary I've basically used, so 1 ounce of beeswax, 2 ounces of shea, coconut, and cocoa butter, 1 ounce of neem, 2 tablespoons of the zinc, and a teaspoon of the vitamin E. So I'm getting ready now to add my zinc. Again, being careful not to breathe it in because it can irritate the mouth, the nose, the lungs. I'm using a whisk just to make sure that it gets blended in really well. I'm going to add in a teaspoon of vitamin E, which again acts as a preservative, and it's good for your skin as well. And then the last ingredient, I don't think I have sea buckthorn. That's too bad. I thought I did. It might be, I don't think I have it. It's too bad. Is carrot seed oil. Carrot seed oil is also very good for the skin. And there are mixed reviews as to whether or not it adds any SPF properties. I've read studies that say that it does, and I've read studies that say that it doesn't. I'm adding it anyway because I actually like the way it smells. So I'm going to do 10 drops of carrot seed oil.
And would I be right in saying that I think I know that brand from here, but it's hard to say.
This is Orcacia.
Yeah. So, but you could also get that on Mountain Herbs.
Right.
Yeah. But that particular brand you can get at many local co-ops.
Yes, it's, you can buy it. Yeah. I used to buy it at Mississippi Market, but now we're in the sticks in Hudson. So we're kind of far
we've got people all over on this page now, so they could, they just need to go to their local co-op or wellness place to find stuff.
Right. And everything's available on Amazon. I mean, which is both great and not so great.
Exactly. So can I ask a question about the sea buckthorn, because I love that and I never had used it until you gave me you gifted me a product that you had made, and it had sea buckthorn in it. And I found out something else that I absolutely love has sea buckthorn. But let's say, since it stains a little bit, that's kind of a nice idea for the sunscreen, right? Because, a lot of times we look like vampires when we put so much on. It would give it maybe like less of or would it be too orangey?
It's a little bit orange, but you can also add, I've read recipes that add cocoa powder.
Oh yeah. Really? For sunscreen?
Yeah, because it adds a little bit of brown.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
I mean, side note, have you made dry shampoo with cocoa or with cinnamon?
I have.
With the arrowroot powder and so that's okay. But I would not have thought of that for sunscreen.
Yeah. Well, you have the cocoa butter, so why not cocoa powder?
Right.
Okay, so it is all melted, all blended. I'm going to pour it into a jar. And then you want to let it completely cool before you put a lid on, because you don't want any condensation forming. Oh, I can see a little bit of chunks. I'm going to stir it once I have it in the jar as well. And what I will probably do as well, because the zinc is heavier than the other ingredients, as it's cooling, I'll probably continue to stir it so that the zinc doesn't all settle in the bottom. Because if I were just to leave it as it is right now, as it cools, I would notice that there would be white in the bottom because all the zinc, not all of the zinc, but a lot of the zinc settles to the bottom. So as it cools, what you'll notice is the beeswax and the cocoa butter will start to solidify. And so if I stir it while it's starting to harden, it'll keep it suspended. Another thing, if you didn't add the beeswax or the cocoa butter, you could whip it and have a nice fluffy product as well. And you whip it the same way you whip whipped cream or egg whites. You can use a standing blender or you can use a hand mixer. It's really difficult to get something to whip with beeswax in it. So unless you have a very small ingredient, very small amount of it, and then a lot of the other products. So really, that's it. See how easy that was? That was what? 20 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, look at how much that made.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
this is, yeah.
because this is, so for example, this is a decent sunscreen, and it's 4 fluid ounces, and it's probably, when it's not on sale, because I'm notorious, I buy it on sale, it was probably $15. And this doesn't last very long when you have littles, you know? And then this other sunscreen, a stick, highly recommend this stick. And I like their sunscreen as well, because I like a lot of their products. But this, the reason why I like a stick with littles is you just pull it and then you just get their faces. Because sometimes they don't want, you know, they don't want it. So you can do that. Whereas you can kind of, it doesn't matter. I don't mind if they look like ghosts. But that amount of sunscreen, it's quite a good amount for,
It is.
yeah.
Right. And because, again, the beeswax, well, actually, all of the ingredients, if you wanted to use this into winter, when we get super, well, especially Minnesota, Wisconsin, where it gets super cold and dry, you can put this on your hands. And again, you will see the water bead off of it. It's so great for the winter.
Yeah.
You can change the amount of the ingredients. I've made lotion bars before. So instead of having it in a container, you can just keep it in a little, make it into a soap bar, and then you can just rub it on your hands. Works really well. You can keep it in your car.
So would you say if you just opted out of, let's say you weren't making sunscreen, you just opt out, don't put the zinc in?
Right.
Yeah. And so this is, we should like recast this during like the holidays when people are like thinking about something fun to do with the kids, to make something for the family. Like they could make lotion.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know that zinc is soothing to the skin. That's why there's zinc powder in butt paste.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you could,
Oh, that's
yeah.
so good. Yeah. It'd be good for babies.
Right.
Too. I mean, everybody, I mean, I don't know that I need butt paste these days, but
You never know.
you never know. Yeah. And I know, and I think you mentioned this already, but I was trying to check to see if we had any questions. But when you said you had used something, was it for eczema for somebody's skin? Because
Yes.
yeah. And that's, I had used, I had, one of my children had a little something and I slathered them with a zinc ointment. I'm not sure if that helped or if it was the homeopathy that we used, but it didn't matter. It was like, oh, good, it's resolved, right? Nobody cares what it is as long as it gets resolved.
Oh, one more thing. So probably the neem that also helps with eczema. The neem and the sea buckthorn help with eczema. But the other great thing about neem is it's an insecticide. You can buy it in, I don't know, like Menards, to spray on your plants if you have aphids.
Oh, that's a great idea.
But it also, you can put neem oil on ringworm. So anyone with little kids, you can put, neem oil on ringworm and it clears it right up.
That's great. So if we just kind of list, obviously sunscreen, number 1, make this. And then 2, you could, you could keep it all the same and just use it as a lotion. You could use it for, like blemishes essentially, or any sort of weird skin, dryish, weird patches or eczema. What else was there anything else that we might use this for?
You can put it on your feet and then put socks on.
I mean, I was going to mention that, but I was waiting for you to. Yeah. Especially in the fall. I mean, all the time, but especially coming up, really good grounding to put some, as we like to say, oil the feet. Yeah. Well, I am looking here to see if we have any specific questions. But here is what I jotted down when you were talking, was that you recommended Mountain Rose Herbs or Amazon, and obviously, and then you mentioned wellnessmama.com. I didn't look it up. I looked at her website many times. And then Mommy Potamus, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And you're going to give us a breakdown, and I will post it. Is there anything else that we want to make sure that oh, here's the thing. We just showed you how to make this, and that involved buying the ingredients. So obviously, if you were thinking about doing something like this, it is a bit of an investment on the front end, right? So, but as we are telling you, it's not like it has a one use. And it's not like you couldn't decide to, like, if you enjoyed doing this, diving in and then making things for holiday gifts or for just for presents, or like things that, oh, like these are so, it is so fun to take these things and buy like fun molds, like silicone molds, and do stuff like this with your kids. Add stuff, because it is at first, anything that you get into ends up being a bit of a investment. So we're not saying you have to do this. You don't have to invest in this. There are obviously products you can buy, which initially a $14 or $20 bottle of sunscreen that is better for your skin. If you know that you're not going to be doing this, if you're like not that kind of person, which by the way, I'm not, I've got the sunscreen, then maybe you aren't going to want to invest in it. But we wanted to give you the idea that it isn't that tough, and that higher quality ingredients are really important because they feed and nourish your skin. And if any of you are feeling like, oh my God, I'm aging, or feeling like you have sensitive skin and you break out from everything, this is a really good option. And so we just wanted to introduce it to you. But by no means, don't feel like you're not living up to any sort of standards to us if you're not doing this and saying, okay, I'm going to go buy my beeswax and all my stuff. That's not what this is about. We don't want to be making anyone feel guilty about, I'm not making my children homemade sunscreen. What kind of group am I in? No, that's not what this is about. We just wanted to share something that we think is interesting, fun, and really nourishing. So.
Yeah. Plus, if you buy these ingredients, you make lip balm with like beeswax, cocoa butter, shea butter. There's so many things, and people love homemade gifts. They make great hostess gifts. Go to somebody's house for dinner, instead of buying them a bottle of wine or flowers, homemade things. People love that stuff. And you were talking about silicone molds. You don't have to buy silicone molds if you don't want to. I've used Halloween eggs that they put treats in. Sometimes they're in shapes like Darth Vader or Olaf, back when Frozen was really big. Same thing with Easter egg molds. Make really cute molds for these things. Yeah, oops.
I definitely like the Vader idea. We have a lot of Star Wars and Star Trek fans in here, so I don't know why, but we do. Yeah. Well, I really want to thank you so much for your time. And I will post whatever you send me. And for anybody who's watching this now or watching the replay, I just want to remind you that we are having essentially like a speaker series during these lunch breaks. And next week, we have a lawyer coming on, because there's nothing more important than feeling empowered when you are having to make legal decisions. It's so funny that I'm saying this, because guess who also is a lawyer? Chantelle. Yes, some of us in this group are very multi-passionate, but we have a lawyer. She is from Minnesota, so she will be speaking from that view. However, for anyone who feels overwhelmed, if there's either something, if you're considering divorce, if you're just trying to understand wills and estates, if you just are feeling like, I'm nervous to talk to a lawyer because I don't know what questions to ask, then I think you'll enjoy our speaker next week. And if you have something you're really passionate about and you know that it helps empower women, then please send me a message, because that's what this is all about. So have a wonderful Tuesday. I'm going to just end this live.